is up, you guys? I hope you guys are having a beautiful, blessed day. My name is Makai, or you can call me Mickey Mars, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get your first 4K badge on whatever legend you're trying to get it on. Now, the 4K badge, I'm gonna just say it right now, it's just all based on luck. It has a little bit of skill, but it's mostly just luck. You're not gonna get a 4K unless you have luck with you. So it's gonna take a lot of games in a day for you to get, say, a 3K, and then sooner or later that 3K game is gonna transition into a 4K. But before we start this video, just make sure you like the video. Let's try to get 25 likes. It will boost the video's algorithm and it will show it to more people like you in a recommendation or YouTube search. Also, follow my TikTok. We're almost at 13 followers. You just made it to 12,000 followers last night. I'm really grateful that we made it right there. And then also join my Discord down in the description down below. We're gonna make it really good because I think I'm gonna buy Nitro soon with my boy Planet Gray area. And then other than that, let's just get started. All right, so now I'm gonna explain this method in two different ways. It's gonna be a passive way on how to get a 4K, which is kind of longer, but it's still a better way if you're not that good at the game. And then I'm gonna show you an aggressive way. So basically you're good at the game. That means you can make it to diamond by yourself, solo queuing and all of that. So yeah, let me just tell you the passive way first. Now for the passive way, it means you gotta have to play, you can play any legend you want, because since you're playing passively, you don't really need, you know, the like how Wraith's tactical, or you don't really need Valkyrie's ultimate to get out because you're just playing a passive way. So I'm gonna still tell you guys some legends that you could choose if you're just a casual at the game. But if you're cracked at the game and you can solo queue to diamond, that means you could play any legend you want because you're cracked at the game. It's just that you need a little bit of help to get that 4K. Now for me, I did the 4K way aggressively. I just went into trios and I played with Loba. This is really easy. And then here are the legends that I think you should choose. It's mainly going to be like passive defensive characters, so such as Gibby. You could use Lifeline, Rampart, and then even Valkyrie, because the reason why you should use Valkyrie is because it's really good if you say you have bozo teammates and then you could really escape from people that's chasing you. You could use her ultimate to see where people is at so you can go to the next group and farm them, or you could just, you know, use her ultimate to just get to the ring faster and start shooting people, the last 5 squads in a circle. Now for the second thing, it's all about where to land, and since you're playing passively, you only need to land at where there's at least 1 or 2 squads, because the reason why you need at least 1 or 2 squads is because you're gonna have to leave with some damage. You can't just look for people without any damage, because once you're done looting at a place where nobody landed at, it's only going to be like 10 or 13 squads left, and that's not enough to get a 4K. Now this is all right in trios, but I recommend you trying to get a 4K in duos because it's just a lot easier on you since you don't have people to play with. But if you do have friends to play with and they help you a lot, then I recommend trios. But if you're doing this by yourself, I recommend duos. Now the reason why you gotta have to land on the place where there's at least 2 or 3 squads landing at is because if you don't get at least a minimum of 600 to 800 damage while leaving, you're not getting a 4K, because like I said, it's not gonna be that much people left in the game and you're probably gonna leave with 2500 damage or either 3000 damage, not close to a 4K at all. Now for the third tip, it is weapon choice. Now the main weapons that I recommend you having if you're playing passively is you're gonna have to get long range weapons. So what I recommend is a R301, so you can use it at medium and even long ranges sometime with the 3x or 2x4 scope. And then also the third weapon should be another long range, so you can choose whatever you want. I recommend the 30-30 repeater, the Hemlock, the longbow, the charge rifle, especially the charge rifle if you want to be, you know, a little trollish. And then also, now that the triple take is back on the ground, you should always, I think that should be the main thing. You could use all the other weapons, but I think the main thing you should have in your inventory is the R301 and the triple take. Now once you get into the end game, you should by now have a red weapon. So what I want you to do is take whatever that secondary is, keep your R301, and then if you see a Spitfire or a G7 Scout in the care package, please take one of those weapons, because that will even make your chance of getting a 4K even better. So yeah, in the beginning of the game, you should be having the secondary weapons I just listed with the R301. Mainly, I think you should have the triple take with the R301, and then by the time you see a care package weapon, get the Spitfire or the G7 Scout. Trust me, it will make your chances a lot higher. Now when you find these weapons, you're not going to push any fight unless you have to. Now when you get these weapons, you're going to have to make sure you know where the circle is going to be at, and then you're also going to have to third party a lot, but never push the third parties, because what you're going to have to do is just farm the damage. You're going to have to keep shooting at the third parties or just a squad that you see from far away and keep shooting at them. Now this is what the long range weapons are for, because if they're getting shot at multiple times, it's going to be hard for that team to push you. Now every sense of these new streamers and all these streamers going try hard and pushing everything that they see, a lot of people push in pubs matches. So that's why I'm saying you must have long range weapons, so when every time you see them push, you can keep cracking them, and then they'd be like, oh, I can't push them, I'm low. So that causes them to heal, and then you rinse and repeat. That's how you can get an easily amount of damage from a team that you see from just shooting from long range. So that's why the 30-30 or the triple take comes in, because you keep spamming that every time. Now for a little quick tip in between that, you're gonna have to make sure you have a lot of ammo since you're farming and you're not going to be pushing fights at all to like loot the body. So I recommend you trying to find at least 300 light ammo and then try to get an easily 200 240 triple take ammo or whatever, you know, ammo for your secondary. And then after that, once you're done, you know, third partying, and when there's like 10 squads left and you're in the final circle, do not push any fights at all unless you have to. You're gonna have to farm these people as much as you can until you can reach that 4K sweet spot. So that's why you're gonna have to make sure you push at least 1 to 2 squads in the beginning of the game when you're looting, so you can get that 600, 800, or 1000 damage. And then after that, that's when you start finding other squads, third partying them from a distance, and just keep farming them. So when they're down, don't finish them, let them revive, and then keep shooting the players every time they re-heal up. And then yeah, it's just rinse and repeat from that. It's just all on luck too that you find the people that you're looking for in an amount of time, because as you know, especially in World's Edge or even Olympus when that comes back, or whenever season you're playing, lots of squads die before the first circle even starts closing in. So that's why you're just gonna have to have a lot of luck if you're doing this passively. Now overall, doing this passively, like I said, push some fights in the beginning so you can get your armor up, and then you could loot and get all your, you know, all the ammo from them to get your minimum 6 to 1000 damage. And then once it's mid game, you start third partying from a distance, start farming them. And then the last thing, like I said, in the end game, if there's like 3 or 4 squads, just keep farming them with your triple take, R301, G7 Scout, or whatever long range weapons you have, and then you should be good. Alright, so now we're on to the aggressive tips, and this is how I got my 4K badges on multiple legends, or if multiple count as 4. But this is the best way on how to get even better too. You can even get better while you're at it trying to get the 4K badge. Now I'm going to tell you guys some legends that you can use that's way better, because if you're doing this aggressively, you're gonna have to have movement based characters. It's gonna be hard trying to get a 4K with Lifeline, or you know, just people that can't move, and it all depends on your aim. So the legends that I recommend using when you're, you know, for movement and aggressively is Horizon, Wraith, Bloodhound, Pathfinder, Gibby, Bangalore, Octane, Loba, especially Loba, because she is the best. That's why I main her, because you can get loot early in the game. You don't have to worry about going building the building to look for the loot, and then you could just go ahead and push the team, and there you go, easy damage, find people quickly, and there still would be like 18-19 squads left because you're done looting. Alright, so now I'm on my computer because I'm going to be showing you guys the hot spots, because it's all about dropping hot when you're playing aggressively, and then that's when you start looking for leftover people in the map. So now I know Storm Point is the map that somehow is always here first when you log in, so that's why I'm going to be showing you Storm Point first. Now the main places that you should go to is Barometer, the Mill, Checkpoint, sometimes the antenna, but not that many people go there, and then Cascade Falls. Now these are the best places to drop hot, and some of these places are only good places to drop hot depending on where the ship is. So say if the ship is going from left all the way down, then that's when you drop to the Mill or the Checkpoint. I recommend dropping Checkpoint. And then if the ship, you know, the drop ship is going from here to up here, that's where you land Barometer or Antenna, but I recommend Barometer. And then say if the ship is going to here, you know, right to left, I recommend either going to Cascade, Antenna, or wait all the way to Checkpoint, because a lot of people go to Checkpoint. Not that many people go to the Mill if it's going right to left, because they're already dropped to many of these places right here. Now Stormcatcher is also another hot drop, but it just depends on what lobby you're in, because I go like from up, you know, right, top right all the way down many a times, and many people don't really land on Stormcatcher. It just depends on, you know, the lobbies. So if you have bots in your lobbies, or either you have people that's trying to get a 4K or 20 bomb badge like you. Alright, so now we're on to World's Edge, and there's, you already know the place that you're gonna easily drop a 4K, and that is Fragment East and Fragment West. Now, no matter where the dropship is going, people land here non-stop. So that's why I'm saying World's Edge on solo duos especially is the best chance you're gonna get at getting a 4K. But if you're not confident enough at dropping Fragment aggressively, the other best places to drop at a lot is when the ship is going right here or up here. Lava Siphon, or however you pronounce it, that's a good spot right here. That's just like number 2, close to number 3, I guess, because a lot of people land at Skyhook when the map, or not the map, when the dropship goes up here or down here, or a lot of people would go to Countdown. So those are the only places that I know so far that people will drop hot, depending on where the dropship is. But if you don't feel like, you know, dropping here because by chance of how many people is going to be here, then I recommend you going to Fragment East or West at all times. Now, the best spots to land at first when you're doing it like really aggressively is Fragment East, but I recommend you, let me zoom in right here. It's kind of difficult zooming in, but let me zoom in right here. Let me drag it over here. Now, when you're landing at Fragment East, you got to make sure that you don't land in that middle building. I already know what building you know I'm talking about. It's the one where the zip line is at. Now, the best places to land at Fragment East is make sure you land on the outside right here. So go to the outside buildings right here, or you could even land at the outside buildings right here, and then that's when you circle in into the middle and third party everyone. This is a really good method. It's way better than luck of going to that middle building in Fragment East. So always land on the outside. And then if you don't want to land in Fragment East, I recommend you going to this spot right here. This is where Fade's favorite place is, second favorite place I think, where all the zip lines are at. Trust me, this is really easy, especially, you know, in duos. It's really easy to just drop right here. So drop right here, or either drop in these two buildings right here, and then that's when you start closing in into the middle, and that's where everybody will start fighting in Fragment East. Now, for the weapons that you need to find in, you know, when you're playing duos by yourself, weapons don't really matter when you drop, because you're just trying to survive and get as much damage as you can get. But once you're done fighting down, you know, on finding the loot that you just found on the ground, you must have an R301, and you must either have a Prowler, a Mastiff, a PK, even if you want to a Triple Take, because that's technically a shotgun. But you're gonna have to get as many guns that are dependable from close and medium ranges, because it's really going to be hard on you if you don't have good weapons to push. So that's why I'm saying those passive weapons that I stated from passive tips is not going to work out well for you. You can even use the R301 with the R99. That's also a good thing, but I just recommend you having like some type of burst weapon, or, you know, a weapon that's going to hit 90, 100 damage at a time, like the PK or the Mastiff. So now on to the next tip. Now what you're basically gonna have to do is push everything that you see in your sight. Now I don't want you pushing like a real dummy and just doing bad mistakes, but I just want you to push a team that you see by themselves, or push a team that you see that is fighting another team in third party or a fourth party. You're just gonna have to shoot at as many people as possible. So you don't have to push them and kill them automatically, because like I said, you're going for the 4K. You're not really interested in a 20 bomb. So if you want to, you could stay back a little bit, try to get them to heal up and then push them. But I recommend you just pushing everything that you see, but not in a dumb, you know, stupid way. But if you don't have a purple shield by now, or even a blue shield, you're gonna have to at least farm them a little bit until your shield upgrades, because you couldn't find a shield off the bat. But that's what I'm saying, when you drop hot, you're gonna have a blue or purple shield already. So just make sure that you push every team, because like I said, you're playing by yourself probably because you put it on solo duos. So you're not gonna have a person to help you out most of the time. So that's why I'm saying you're gonna have to make sure you do this quick and fast. Next tip is making sure that you finish your opponent. So if you down someone and the other duo team, you're gonna have to make sure you finish them, because there is 2 or 3 reasons. Now the first reason is because it's an easy, I forgot how much damage it was, I believe it's 200 damage or 100, but it's an easy damage when you finish a down opponent, when you're executing them, or when you're just finishing them with the weapon that you got them down with. So just make sure that you are thirsty and just finish that person that you down. You can even finish other people's down players. Even if it doesn't have to count as a kill, it will count towards your damage. So just every time you see a down person, finish them off and be thirsty. So now for my final and last tip, it is basically making sure that your eyes and ears are sharp, because you're gonna have to make sure you hear every gunfight. You're gonna have to make sure you hear someone shooting at a prowler or something. You're gonna have to make sure someone called in a lifeline package. You gotta make sure that people is fighting at this spot, and you just gotta push and push and push, because if you don't push and you're playing slow, most of the people is going to die quickly, because like I said, a lot of people are trying to get the 4K 20 bomb like you now for some reason, and half the squads will be out by the time the first circle is there. So that's why you gotta make sure your eyes and ears are sharp, and just make sure that you push everything that you see and hear, because if you don't, you're gonna miss out on a 4K and barely probably get a 2,000 or 3,000 damage game. And now for my bonus tip before I go on this video is making sure that you have a good mindset, because without that good mindset and you just doubting yourself that you're never gonna get the 4K or 20 bomb or whatever you're trying to achieve, you're never gonna get what you get, because you're telling yourself you're never gonna get it. So always make sure you're positive, and if you're getting upset at the game, just turn it off, go watch some Dashie, go watch some Corey X Kenshin, go watch whatever YouTuber that you watch to calm you down, or just go outside or watch a TV show. Just make sure that you're good and okay and your mindset is all right, because without your mindset, you're never going to achieve your goal in Apex Legends. Alright you guys, so that was basically it for this video. I hope that these tips helped you out. If it doesn't, just tell me in the comments below and tell me what went wrong with you, or if it did help you out, just make sure you tell me what did help you out. Was it the passive tips or was it the aggressive tips? Just tell me. I love your feedback. And then make sure you guys like the video, and that's basically it. I'm out of here. Thanks for watching.
I got
You win. Perfect.